We're back with another product review. We have the Byrna Compact Launcher, the Byrna CL if you want to call it. We've compared, or we've done a review on the Byrna SD. This is their, I guess, more traditional size for their pepper projectile. The Byrna CL is their concealed carry version. This is a model that they've been working on now for a few years. Not saying that you can't conceal this one, but obviously this is a bit more of like a full-size firearm. This is definitely a little bit more compact. I carry a macro on me on a regular basis, and it is more or less the same size. So this fits really nice. It's definitely lighter. It is definitely thinner. And just smaller in size as a whole, but it still packs a hell of a punch. We're actually going to test out the difference of impact between this and the SD. We've got some melons that we're going to shoot with the kinetic rounds. I'm not testing the pepper rounds today. I've tested them. Oh, that bird's. Do you want the water now? Like, that sucks. I gotta take this off. Woo! It's gonna work the exact same. If you want to see me go through that, I'll post a link up here. But again, pepper is pepper. It's gonna work either way. I want to see how this works from an impact perspective, right? Because again, this does shoot smaller rounds. This one shoots a 61 caliber round. The SD shoots 68 caliber rounds. Now, from my understanding, they have adjusted the mechanics of this one so that the impact is equivalent to what the SD is, even though it shoots a smaller caliber projectile. Now, what you get in the case is you get a hard case. The SD comes in a bit more of like a soft top. This is a nice sturdy hard case. You get 2 CO2 cartridges, you get 2 magazines, one extra, one inside the launcher itself, and then you get multiple different types of ammo. We have the kinetic projectiles. These are your hard rounds that we're going to be testing out today. You have another kinetic projectile, and then you have the pro training projectile. So these are the ones that will explode upon impact, creating a bit of a powder. It's not pepper or anything, it's just a biodegradable powder, so you can kind of see what it looks like when you're actually shooting it. But you do get 2 I guess full clips of the kinetic projectiles. Now, one thing that I have noticed in all of their models is that they do not include actual pepper rounds, and my understanding of that, and I'm just going out on a limb here, is because not all states allow you to carry pepper spray. And so I think that this is their way of allowing you to purchase this. No matter where you live in the US, you can purchase this, and then if you are in a state that allows you to have pepper projectiles, you can then go onto the website and you can order pepper projectiles as well. Now, the difference between these two projectile launchers, right? The SD does have a safety switch. The CL does not. They both have a nice retractable magazine, right? Flows in real smooth, pops out real smooth, no complaints there. I will say that because this is a concealed carry, and I kind of anticipated this, the handle is a little bit smaller, so my pinky kind of hangs off on the edge a little bit, whereas with the SD, it fits nice and firm across the entire thing. This one, you also have a bit more of a rubberized grip. This one's a bit smoother. So if you were me, you would probably want to wrap a little bit of like a grip tape around there just to give yourself a little bit more of a sturdy grip. Now, you do have the nice iron sights on this. However, you do have an option to put a red dot on this. So that's on their website, and that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's necessary for a projectile launcher, but if you're one that wants a red dot, you can slap one on here. And then they also have a holster that you can purchase on the website that will allow you to actually carry it concealed. Now, the beauty of having something like this, right? This is one that we've talked about in the past when it comes to pepper projectiles, right? I don't think that there's any replacement for a firearm, but I have to understand that not everyone is comfortable carrying firearms, or you may live in an area where you can't carry a firearm, right? This is a great alternative for that, or again, if you just want a less lethal option. For instance, I carry, my wife prefers not to, she carries one of these with her, right? So it's still something that you can use to protect yourself. Again, there is some stopping power with the kinetic rounds, and obviously if you add in the pepper rounds or even the tear gas rounds, you're definitely going to be causing some damage to your aggressor. Again, it's not guaranteed to stop them. But from when we tested it, when we tested the SD, the pain was definitely real. The pepper took about a minute to fully, actually, it was about 20 to 30 seconds to fully kind of kick in from the pepper. That's still a long time for me to fight back. Again, I'll post the full link so you can see that breakdown as well. But nonetheless, it is a good, less lethal option. What the concealed carry version, what their CL model allows you to do is actually carry this on your person at a bit more easily, you can easily carry compared to the other one. Right? If I want to carry it in my waistband, I can do so, right? Again, you can purchase a holster, but I can easily carry this in my waistband. If you have, let's say, like a fanny pack, right? If you are one that carries any sort of crossbody or fanny pack, and I want to have this across me, right? You can easily store this on the inside. So if I'm going on a walk, if I'm going shopping, if I'm going on a run, whatever the case is, like you can have this fully, you know, I'm not going to deal with this now, but you can fully store this in there, easily pull it out, get your sights on, and you can have it work in that manner as well. Again, if you're in a car or vehicle, this is a great one that you can keep inside your glove compartment. You can keep it on the side of your door. So that just gives you a little bit more options for carrying just due to the size itself. But overall, I mean, this thing feels more or less the exact same as the SC, other than it just being a little bit lighter. But let's obviously test out how this works in comparison. Now, if you are new and you haven't seen one of these before, they do require CO2 cartridges. The way that you load this is actually at the front here. So on the bottom of the magazine, again, there's a little point here. You stick the point in the front, you loosen it up, you're able to take this out, and that's where we're gonna load up the CO2. Now, the question that everyone always has with pepper projectiles, or I guess the hesitation that people have with pepper projectiles, is, well, how long does the CO2 last? What happens when the CO2 is just sitting there over time? At least when it comes to Byrna's models, right? Theirs are designed to puncture the CO2 on its first shot. So I can have this sitting in here for as long as I want, and it's not going to be punctured until I pull the trigger. Now, magazine wise, it only does fit 5 rounds. Again, the benefit to having 2 mags is that you can have them loaded, you can easily swap them out, and we can kind of go from there. But again, when I'm loading this, I'm going to put it in at the bottom, puncture it. Again, no CO2, there's no noise coming through. Again, no safety on this one compared to the SD model. So if I'm using this one, I have to make sure that I'm keeping my finger and everything away from the trigger until we are ready to actually use it. Just gonna put some rounds through this just to kind of see how it flows. When we shot the SD last time, we probably put like 30 or 40 rounds through it, never had a single issue, never had any hiccups. So again, this is fresh out of the box, haven't fired it once, haven't even loaded CO2 into it until just now. So again, let's see how it works. Yeah, that's pretty solid. So I will notice, and I don't know if the camera caught it, but the first round kind of dropped and chipped off to the right a little bit. And then the remainder 4 rounds were pretty locked on solid. I think first round ricocheted right off here, and then the last 4 were dead center right there. And that actually seemed to have a pretty good impact for a smaller carry. Now again, if I just pull this trigger, you're gonna get the CO2 cartridges blasting. I don't know how many rounds you can get through a full cartridge, but again, you could easily shoot through 2 magazines. Obviously, a fresh cartridge is always gonna be the most power that you have. So again, if you ever find yourself having to use this in a real life situation, make sure that you take out that extra cartridge when you're done and replace it with a new one, so that if you have to use it another time in your life, you again have a fresh cartridge at that point. So just so you can see the difference of the caliber size, this is the Byrna SD, again 68 caliber. This is the Byrna CL, the 61 caliber. You put them together, so there is a nice distinguished size difference. Now, what is the difference in the impact? Now, obviously, if we're talking about like pepper projectiles or the tear gas version that they have, which we have not tested yet, we are going to though. Obviously, those are going to impact you, one, from an impact perspective, right? The actual impact of the ball hitting your chest, your face, your arms, whatever, but then you actually have the powder effect. I'm not going to test the difference between the 2 of those on that. I want to test strictly what is the impact difference between their kinetic rounds, because honestly, you can probably stop someone with these kinetic rounds. Now, a lot of people on the internet were blasting it saying, well, I would just rather carry a firearm. I get that, I'm with you. However, again, depending on your circumstances, where you live or what you're comfortable with, this might be your best option. These are still going to hurt, and they can still stall someone enough to allow you to get away. Maybe this gives you the time you need to barricade yourself in your house. Maybe this gives you the time you need to put the car in drive and get out of the situation if we're in like a road rage incident, or if you're on a walk and somebody's approaching you and making you feel uncomfortable and they start getting hands-on with you or attempting to get hands-on with you. This gives you enough time to create some distance and run back to your car. Whatever the circumstances are, these have enough stopping power to buy you that extra time. I'm gonna put up 2 melons, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start from 20 feet, fire a shot from each of the weapons at 20 feet to see what the impact is. We are then going to move up to 10 feet and see what the distance or what the impact is at that close range, and see how much of a difference there is between the 2. So this was a 68 caliber, this is the 61 caliber, more or less 20 feet apart. Both punctured the melon. 68 caliber seemed to go in a little bit deeper, but I mean, both did some serious damage to the outer shell. And yeah, they're projectiles, right? They're going to be a little bit more resistant to wind. So you can expect that they're going to kind of vary directions a little bit. As you kind of saw, we were kind of veering up, down, off to the side a little bit. But again, if we're talking like a big target, am I going to necessarily aim this at your face? Not necessarily, especially from a distance, because of the fact that there's a greater chance that the wind's going to push in a different direction. But if I aim center mass, I could probably unload all 5 rounds and hit you center mass without an issue. And if one happens to veer up and hit you in the face, well, then this is more or less what's going to happen. So we'll go again with the SD first. Now we are 10 feet, which is close, right? But again, if we're talking inside your house, in the hallway, if somebody's approaching your car in a road rage situation, like this is going to be more or less the distance that you are going to be drawing and using this at. So I anticipate that the damage and impact is going to be a little bit more. "10 feet, 68 caliber, 10 feet, 61 caliber. We did get one lodged in there. This one I kind of, clipped off the top. This one's a little bit more of a direct hit. Obviously, we got a couple direct shots in there. Another direct one in the back. I think this was the first shot, or one of the first shots. Both are going to do damage, but there is a distinguished difference between a 68 caliber and a 61 caliber, at least just from this simple test. Now, how would that vary when it's coming to a human body? At the end of the day, there's no real efficient way to test it. I could take shots from the kinetic rounds. They're both going to leave welts. They're both going to hurt. They're both going to bruise pretty good. But until we actually put this through like hardcore tests of trying to charge somebody, trying to get hands-on with someone, and actually trying to stop someone, you're really not going to be able to see how effective these are until they are in action, honestly. All right, so at the end of the day, you want to purchase a pepper projectile. You're checking out Byrna's website. You're between the SD and the CL. Which model do you purchase? It's going to come down to what you are looking for. If you want something to have on you when you're out and about in town, when you're going shopping, when you're going out to lunch, when you're driving in your car, the CL is probably going to be your better option, just due to the fact of the options it allows you to have when it comes to carrying it, because it is a compact version. Again, I can carry it in my waistband. Now, typically I wouldn't do this without a holster, but you can carry this in your waistband. Again, on their website, they do have a holster for appendix style that you can use to carry this, and it's gonna, print just as much, more or less, as you would if you were concealed carrying to begin with. You could put this in your pocket. Wouldn't recommend it, but you could carry it that way. Again, we showed you at the beginning, if you're wearing a fanny pack or any sort of cross-body bag, you can easily stuff it inside there, so that if you need to access it, draw it, get hands-on, you can do so as well. So this, in my opinion, is a better option when you are out and about wanting to protect yourself on the go. If it comes to a less lethal option that you want in the house, right? You're trying to protect yourself from an intruder, you're trying to protect your family, whatever the case is, and you are not comfortable carrying a firearm, or maybe you just have a lot of kids around and you just don't want a firearm in the house. This, in my opinion, is a better option for home defense, because it does, just based off this test alone, packs a bit more of a punch. So something like this, yeah, I'm going to carry this around in the house. I like the fact that it does have the safety switch. Again, we still do have a CO2 cartridge in here. I'm pulling the trigger, nothing happens. We go to fire, you're gonna get the CO2 right away. So it is nice that this does have a safety. Again, both models are 5-round magazines, so that hasn't changed. Both use CO2, both have the same options when it comes to rounds. You've got the kinetic rounds that one you can use to practice with, but you can also use those as stopping power. They have the pepper rounds, and then they also have like the pepper tear gas rounds as well. And then in addition, they do have the practice rounds that have like the biodegradable powder that you can actually kind of see what the impact looks like. Both come in different colorways. Price point, they're more or less going to be the same. It does cost a pretty penny for one of these, but again, when we're talking about personal safety, this is more or less what it would cost for a firearm if you were looking to purchase one of those. So in that, when you look at it in that way, the price point fits for what you were trying to get. At the end of the day, both make viable options. You could easily carry this one in public just like you could this one in public. So it's going to come down to your personal preference, what size works better for you. Maybe you have smaller hands, maybe you have bigger hands. It doesn't matter. It's your personal preference. What I recommend though is that if you purchase one of these, make sure that you train with it just like you would any other safety device. Get comfortable using it. Understand how you have to adjust your shots when you're outside. So again, practice outside so that you can get used to having to adjust on the fly. But at the end of the day, it's your personal safety. As always, carry what you are comfortable carrying, carry what is legal for you to carry, and make sure that you train with it. Stay safe.